everyone. Hey, everybody.
So good to see everybody.
Oh, you guys, I've missed you the last couple weeks. Didn't it feel weird not being on here with everyone?
It felt weird. I was like, wait, aren't we supposed to be like what? Like last Tuesday, I was like, this is weird. Like I feel like we need to just hop on, like just
No, right?
go live and talk about something.
I know, you guys. So, this is the last in our goal setting series. We're gonna talk about reflections and the quarterly assessment tonight. But this is not our last live. So we've got a bunch of stuff in the works that we're going to announce over the next couple months. But we have, and we'll talk about it again, we'll remind you at the end, but we have a Meet the Team live coming up in February. That's going to be our next live. And you guys are not going to want to miss this one because we have some new additions. And I can't wait to share kind of a little bit of the behind the scenes with you guys. You could see all the amazing people that make Makselife happen and this amazing community, because I sure as heck can't do it on my own. So I'm excited. You guys get to learn a little bit more about them. It'll be fun. And then we're talking about doing a kind of a more casual chat, like a Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
Would you guys be interested in that? Show me some hearts. I'm going to see
Yes.
if you guys would love that. By the way, Hannah, did I just see that you said it's snowing in Vegas?
It is. It's snowing in Vegas.
Does it snow in Vegas? I always thought Vegas was like hot.
That's what I'm saying. Like when I got on her stories and I seen it today and it was snowing, I was like, oh,
that's crazy.
Maybe I shouldn't move to Vegas.
Oh man. All right. Well, you guys, how's everybody doing in the new year? Share some wins with us. What are some wins you guys have had? I know things are still crazy. I actually, it's been in my heart the last couple days, especially to check in with all of you in our community, our Facebook community. If you guys are tuning in on our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel, there's 3 different areas where you guys are all tuning in from right now. And unfortunately, you guys can't always all see each other's comments. We recommend that you guys always tune in from the Facebook group and kind of start converging everyone there, because you'll be able to read. That's where most of the comments happen. Mm-hmm. You guys can tune in there. But for those of you who are tuning in elsewhere, if you haven't joined our Facebook group yet, please try and do that. It's an amazing community. And you guys were the first to know that we had extra inventory this last weekend, which sold out within I think 12 hours. Again, we found extra inventory we hold back for customer service and stuff. We also have an imperfect sale coming up in February. So there's a lot of stuff that you guys get to hear about first being in the Facebook group. And if Facebook is not your thing, and I totally understand that, just create a shell account and join in. We don't scrutinize people's accounts.
Yes. I actually have friends who have created a Facebook account just so they could be a part of certain Facebook groups. So totally recommend doing that. And if you are on Facebook, can you make sure you grant StreamYard access so we can see your face when you have a comment or a question, so we can put your beautiful face up there on the screen. So make sure you grant us permission.
Yes. Okay, so one of the things that's been on my heart, and why I even brought up the Facebook group, is I really want to know how everyone's mental health is doing right now. I have noticed in my own life that things feel heavier. I feel like every month things just keep getting, it's like, oh, okay, where's the breath? There's definitely a lot. I know that a lot of us have kind of taken a collective breath now that we can step back from some of the political tensions that have been there. But I think just overall, we know that schools are likely going to be closed until fall in most places. We've had to, kind of be in survival mode for a really long time. And so I'm going to do a check-in with you guys in the next week just to see how everybody's doing. But I'm curious how everyone's doing. I'm seeing you guys in your comments. And yes, okay, so I know that if I'm feeling it, that you guys are also feeling it.
Yes. I'll be honest, y'all. The first month of January has been rough for me personally. I did a lot of stepping away from just the internet and social media. And I feel like it's so funny we're talking about reflection, because I feel like this month I had just had to do a lot of reflection internally so I could kind of stop focusing on the external things. So yes, everything that a lot of you guys are saying, your mental health is just hard, overwhelming. I've seen overwhelming 3 times already, y'all. You are not alone in that. So
no, you're not.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get caught up in seeing what other people are posting online. And, you know, again, it's all of our highlight reels. But the reality is, and this is the kind of conversations that we want to have in our community, where we're talking about like the real stuff. Like, we're here to dream, we're here to chase our goals. But if we are not okay and feeling our best inside, it's really hard to change externally. And so we are not going to gloss over that. We embrace the hard stuff, and we're going to talk about that tonight and why reflections are so important, and getting through even like especially the hard parts. And that's just it's just life. Life's messy. 2020 is extra messy. 2021 is carrying that torch.
It's like the sister. It's like the cousin.
Well, I posted in one of the comments, like, I think I was talking about like a shipping delay or something, and I was like 2020/1. Like, we're gonna collectively, like, we're gonna wrap them into the same thing.
Yes. Pierre, what would you say has been a win this month, though? I want to hear a win that you've had this month.
For me?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I didn't know you were gonna ask me this. I'm on Okay, the biggest win has been you guys, like, getting the companion notebooks. That was a really big push product for us. It was a kind of a later in the year concept, something that's been in my heart for a while, but I decided to like really push it to get it to market. We had shipping delays, we had customs issues. I mean, it was just a hot mess. So getting those out the door and seeing you guys over the last couple of days, posting your photos of them, I can't even describe the joy I have, because it is allowing us to reach people who maybe already have a planner that they love or another system. And the impact and the spread of people being able to focus on their goals without like just one, product is such a cool win. And I've been able to like take some downtime, and I needed that. So those are both two big wins for me. What about you?
Oh, okay. For the past 2 Saturdays, I've like gotten my journal and like busted out, like, I got these new pens that, I've been like loving. They're like paint pens, and I've been like forcing myself to get creative. Like what's it? I'm so used to saying like performing arts, but what visual art, like be like drawing and painting. And it's been really nice and like a big like stress reliever and good for my mental health. So just getting creative and making time for that and giving space and grace for myself on Saturdays. Like, that's been like my thing. And not working also on Saturdays have also like been really good for me.
I love that. I've also been getting more creative too. And it's so crazy because my planner to me used to be a creative outlet. If you look at my planner friend account, I got very creative back in the day when I had more time. I don't have time to do that now, but I miss that creative outlet. So I've been finding it in my journal and bullet journal. I know you're doing the same thing, and getting a little bit more crafty with my reflections pages, which you guys, we're going to show you guys some examples of some of all of your amazing reflection pages. So you might show up on the screen later. Just be forewarned. So anyway, let's jump in. It's so great. I want to, like, can we chat like this like more often?
Yeah. Like, I mean, why not?
Our team calls are supposed to be an hour between Darian and I, and they end up being 3 hours, I think, more often than not.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get back on the agenda. All right, tonight we're going to talk about reflections. I'm going to clear up some confusion in the Facebook group. Some of you guys were curious about the order of how the book is going to flow. When I created Makselife, it was equally like life coach and planner girl. And I'm sharing this with you because the systems, I'm a systems girl. Like, I am such a systems girl. So I needed the system, but I also needed the flexibility to use the book however you want. And so that dot grid page is new. Last year, as you guys know, it said notes and reflections at the top. Now it's dot grid. Another shout out to Hannah on this one, because she's the one who told me. She's like, please make it dot grid. Please make it dot grid.
Yes.
But I realized that there's been some confusion because people are like, oh no, what page are we supposed to use? So I'm going to jump into that real fast. I'm going to clear up any confusion with you guys. I have my planner here. You guys, I have so many pages. Like, I need to take photos. I have just been too busy, so I can share. But here's how the planner works. So you don't have to do weekly reflections. However, it's highly recommended. I have a quote here. Reflection is one of the most underused yet powerful tools for growth and learning. It is truly, I always say, the sweet spot in our system is the weekly actions. I mean, truly, if you guys have not done your annual goals, you haven't done your monthly goals, and you're still trying to sort all that stuff out, that's totally okay. So many of our power users in our last live, if you missed that, said that a lot of their beginning pages were empty because they weren't quite sure or confident enough to fully jump into the system. This year they did because they've been working on it, and it's a muscle that they're used to flexing. But if you're not sure and you're lost, just jump into the weekly actions. Those are super powerful, but equally powerful are doing the weekly reflections. And how I set this up, and so you guys can use that weekly reflections page however you want. I'm going to start in February because I have all my stuff. You guys don't want to see all my pages. It would be too confusing. So the way it works is you've got your monthly goals, and then it jumps into, so this is February's example. The way that I designed the book and again, you guys can use this however you want. Again, flexibility is the planner girl and me creating space for you. If you want to use this for a brain dump or a shopping list or your meal planning, you can do that. But we all recommend using this for your weekly reflections. So I sit down when I plan, and this is my weekly spread. Whatever day you decide to plan, sit down, and this would be your work before you jump into your weekly scheduling. What I do is I use this page here, always on the opposite side of the weekly actions, to do whatever weekly reflections I'm going to do. Sometimes I do it in a free write journal form. Sometimes I use the questions that we recommend, which are, what are my wins? What's working? What's not working? What lessons have I learned? And what adjustments am I going to make moving forward? That's usually what I use them for, but sometimes I change it up because I get bored or I feel like there's something else I want to dig deeper in. But that's what's cool about these, is that we don't have the questions written here. You can use them however you want. So I do the reflections, and with this information that I get from that, I then dive into my weekly actions. So then you plan for your week, and it just repeats. So you're always reflecting on the previous week. A reflection is rear looking. It's not reflecting on what's coming up. So I know that kind of came up. So reflect, plan your weekly actions, plan your week. You're going to go through the whole month like that. And then at the end, and this is where people are getting caught up. They're like, oh, but wait, where's that reflection page for the week? It's here. It's back when you start in the new month. But in between, you get the opportunity to do the monthly reflection. So I'm going to kind of walk through both of those just a little bit more with you guys. But I just hopefully that clears it up. If you guys have questions, I want to know right now if there's any kind of, because I know in our group, people are like, wait, what week are you using that page for? What do you do at the end of the month? It just carries over. So if you always look at that spread as that is your reflect and plan ahead, then they're always together. The whole book is like that. You'll never run out of a page. You'll never have there may be an extra notes page in there somewhere, but if it's not attached to your weekly actions, just use it for something else. Like, for example, did I do it in this one? I think I did. My first notes page that was not my week one, I did the reflections for the last week in December. So hopefully that makes sense. If you guys have any questions on that, post them. And then Darian, let me know.
Yes.
Okay. And then let's see. I want to know who out of all of you guys, who's using the weekly, that page for weekly reflections? Because I know not all of you do. So give us a little emoji that you tell us who.
The hands up emoji.
Yeah, I want to know. And if you're not using them, tell us what you're using them for. We just like to know. It's good information for me. Next year, we're going to do some design changes, just minor. I'm going to add the questions that we recommend very subtly somewhere on the page so that they're there for you for just quick reference and a reminder, but they will not be like so in your face that you feel like you have to use the page for that, but just to give some more direction. Now with this, the weekly reflections, If it feels redundant to you to do the monthly reflections and then jump in again to the next week because it's back to back, I sometimes don't do that weekly reflection because I felt like I kind of gathered all the good bits from the monthly or in the monthly. You can do that too. So there's weeks, like I had a week a couple of weeks ago that I missed doing the reflections. I just didn't get to it in time, and it felt a little like too late to like really look back. It was just one of those weeks that I'm like, did it happen? Like, I didn't even remember. So I ended up using the page for some of my like business goals and some of my business goal planning. So you guys can do that too. That's what's so cool about it. You can use it however you want. And Darren and I want to talk about too, the flexibility and permission to do this system the way it works for you, you guys.
Yes. Like literally our number one rule here is there are no rules. So like you guys, I know when it comes to even like the monthly reflections, I like doing those throughout the month, where like if I had something from my weekly reflections that I was like, oh, I need to remember this going into next month, I'll go and add it to my monthly reflection. So when I do come to my monthly reflections, I see some things like, oh yeah, like that week that happened, and I wanted to make sure I knew that going into this next month. And so there's literally no rules at all. And even like, I'm so excited for you guys to see the examples, because even when it comes to even the questions we ask, there are so many different questions that you can ask yourself with the weekly actions. But I'm getting ahead of myself because I get really excited about this. So
I know, me too. I'm like, I need to back up on my agenda.
Back to the agenda. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, and you guys, there is an element too. And when I used to do life coaching, and I would coach people in accountability groups and one-on-one with this system. And one of the things that I noticed is that, and why the reflections are so impactful, and we've been talking about this for a couple of weeks about how impactful they are. And the power users have been talking a lot about how it's really been instrumental in their personal growth. When I was working with people, I could ask those questions. I could say, hey, what was the lesson in that for you? What adjustments do you want to make moving forward? As a coach, I could have that conversation. I can't have that conversation with you guys because we're not, it's a product and you guys are on your own. But here's what's super cool is that you guys get to self-guide and self-coach yourself. It's a process. The process is the same no matter who's facilitating it. So if it's a page that you're writing your answers down on and you're reflecting, or someone's pulling it out of you in a conversation, it is the same result. So I just saved you a bunch of money on hiring a life coach.
Y'all, we get our own life coach with our planners. Like, I feel like I got the planner, I got the community, and I got my own coach. Like, come on now. Like, especially when you're reading, like, I call it my pep talk section. Like, before we even that we talk, like going through the pep talk part where it's like having a coffee date, talking with Sierra, and she's telling you like, okay, these are the different goals that you set. And I don't know why my voice changed. Like, I think I was like, if Sierra was going to talk to me.
Is that what it's saying?
Yes, I totally feel that. It's like we really do get a life coach with these, like, especially.
Yeah. And I want to also acknowledge that this can feel very uncomfortable. I did a poll at the beginning of last year when you guys had all come into those of you first year users had started using our system and were in the Kickstart coaching group. One of the things that I had asked you guys is if you felt comfortable, quote, trusting the process. And over 90% of you said no. And it was, I know just from working with people that is a big mental block, but I wanted to bring it up because I was surprised at how many people truly are like, oop, I'm not sure. It's unknown. I'm not confident in it. What's right? What's wrong? Wait, which direction am I supposed to go? And we've been trained to follow, and that there's rules and that there's boxes that we all fit into. But this is a space for you guys. There's no rules. And we're going to continue telling that. No rules, permission, flexibility. And there's a reason for that. It's not just because we're like, do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. It's because we want you to learn to trust yourselves. We want to, in that inherently, your confidence will grow. Your inner wealth will expand. You are depositing into yourself something that no one can take away. And in that, in trusting yourself and trusting the process and allowing yourself to get messy, make mistakes, that setbacks and quote failures are all learning opportunities and getting curious about what this is going to look like for you, there's no, you can't lose. Like, it's all golden nuggets. So permission, you guys, to play around, and if something's not working for you, ask yourself why, and then change it. That's what's so cool. And that's the power of the reflections part in this whole thing. Were there any questions about the setup with the pages?
The only other question that I see, just re talking about this real quick, is, so do the reflection ahead of the week, not reflecting on the past week?
No, you reflect. So you sit down with your goals, your weekly actions are for the coming week. What am I going to get done? But before you do that, reflect on the last week. What worked last week? Because reflection is in the past. So what were your wins? What is working for you? What wasn't working for you? What were the lessons that you learned last week? And what adjustments are you going to make moving forward? All of that goes on this page. And then immediately after, you take that information and say, okay, what adjustments? What did I learn? And then, adjust accordingly. And, Tammy, she had posted about her reflections. She's also another one of our power users. And she had said that she loved her reflections because it was a calorie-free way to celebrate her wins, but also allowed her, and I'm sorry, Tammy, I know you're in here, and I hope I don't massacre what you said, but that it was an opportunity for her to also see how she got in her own way. And that is one of the biggest lessons in this, because you are going to have goals that you set that you don't accomplish, no matter how deep you dig or how motivated you are. It is human nature. We get in our own way. And if you're not reflecting, you won't know why. And the information that comes out from these reflections, and even if you don't do weekly reflections, you guys, and you just do the monthly reflections, those are powerful too. You just get a lot deeper in learning from the more here and now immediate, because I don't know about you, Darian, but when I do my weekly reflections, I'm constantly amazed at what pops up on those pages. I'm like, oh,
most definitely. I think for me, me knowing the kind of person that I am, it helps me pinpoint what I love that it's a part of my planner, because I'm able to see what was going on that week that made me either feel that type of way or make me feel like, look at this thing as a loss. It really takes, I don't know, it really just brings it all together and helps me connect a lot of dots. And so, and it also helps me honestly be honest with myself, which I think is the most powerful part about doing reflection. Is, for me, I get to be honest, and I get to sometimes, face those hard feelings that I don't want to face, and really, well, why don't I want to face them? Why was that? Because, oh, this happened or that happened or this was going on. And so it's really, for me, just such, again, building that inner wealth though. And because that question of well, what were my highs and what were my wins and my gratitudes? For me, it helps me, a bit face those emotions, but also really helps me to also change my perspective. And to see new opportunities for me to grow. Yeah. So I think that has been the power of doing reflection for me.
Yeah. And same with me. And I want to give an example. One of the things that, as I've been sorting through, what is 2021 going to look like for me with so many uncertainties and just so much stuff kind of in upheaval. And I had carried over many goals that I had last year. One of them was a very important goal to me. It was actually a stretch goal last year that I was just kicking butt on until COVID hit, was going to the spin studio. And I had originally set my goal to do it 2 times a week, and I ended up doing 5 times a week and was loving it. And then COVID happened and everything shut down. And, with the stress of just the holidays and launch and everything, things got really crazy. So of course I put it back on my goals because it's something I love. It brings me joy. It fills a bunch of buckets for me. But at the beginning of the year, I kept putting down on my weekly actions to do spin twice a week. And the first week, I believe it was do spin twice a week. And I didn't do it. And I'm like, okay, great. Next week I put it, I'm like, just do it for 20 minutes. Didn't do it. And I wrote it down again. I'm like, just do it one time. I did not do it. Now, many people would be like, you're not following through on your goals. And if I had a coach, they'd probably be like, Sarah, why? What's going on? Like, is your heart really into it? But through my reflections, I realize I'm like, no, I do care about this. This is incredibly important to me. But you know what? For the month of January, I'm tired. I can't put my head around that right now. And that's okay. But in February, I'm going to reevaluate. I'm going to look at it and I'm going to give myself permission for the month of January, even though it is in my heart to do this. There are so many other things that I have to get in line that really, truly, in the grand scheme of things, are way higher on my priority list that have been neglected as well, that need my time and attention. And it was only through my reflections that I understood why those my monthly goal and my weekly actions were not getting done. And I love it. I now look back and I'm like, that's so funny. I had the best of intentions. Guess what's not on my goals anymore? I'm not putting a spin on there. Now, that's amazing. I'm proud of that relationship with myself that I've built through the years. And it's only through reflection that has allowed me to see what I would have perceived as a failure before as something that can actually enhance my life and make me a better person, because I now became a lot more confident in how I was showing up for those other things because I was clear on it. But I would not have gotten that insight if it wasn't for reflections.
Yeah. Sierra, as we get ready to move into the next part of what we're going to talk about, I've seen this comment that really resonated with a lot of the people watching right now. When Hannah had said, I have a hard time celebrating my wins and giving myself credit. Like many women, I tend to be really critical of myself, and the reflection page has, been so positive for me, and it's allowed myself to celebrate. And that's something that I've been noticing, even within our own community and lately, is that we have a hard time celebrating ourselves. Like, it's like we're afraid to say, like, you did good. Like, or yay for me for doing this, or feeling great about this. Like, we have such a hard time doing that. And I think that I feel like we just need to have a live on that, just talking about that in its own, but really allowing the reflection process. And as we move into talking about even more questions we can ask ourselves with the weekly and monthly, is allowing yourself to be proud of yourself and like put those wins down, because we can pat ourselves on the back. And I love this, Hannah, because a lot of people feel the same way.
Yeah. And I also really struggle with that. I've talked to Hannah about it specifically, kind of the, it's sad. It's just, it's the norm in our society, and it shouldn't be that way. But like I've said in past lives, says who, we get to change the way we do things. And you guys show up in our group and tell us, guess what I just did? I just accomplished something. And watch how many people flock to cheer you on and celebrate you, no matter how big or small that win is. Get used to celebrating yourself. Like this, there's nothing wrong with that. And it builds that confidence. Nobody can take that away from you. No matter what's going on in this crazy world, no matter what relationships you may have with people, or what's going on politically or economically or whatever, nobody can take away that confidence that you start to build when you give yourself credit for things that deserve credit. And sometimes it's not even wins. Sometimes it's acknowledging and learning from the failures too. I want to normalize not only celebrating the wins and accomplishments, but I really want to normalize it's cool to F up. So like that's my anchor in the ground. Mm-hmm. So for those of you guys who are doing the reflections, I'm curious, now that I'm all about like celebrating the wins, but I want to know, what are some opportunities of growth for you? Because I know if you've been doing reflections, those puppies are popping up and they're showing themselves. And as you guys start to find your flow, you're going to start learning, like I did with me. I'm like, why am I not getting this goal done? My opportunity for growth is to find time for that after I've gotten everything else in order. And so, Darian, what's an opportunity for growth for you?
Ooh, I feel like I should have been prepared for this.
No, this is not, none of this is on the agenda.
Opportunities for growth for me. I think very similar. I think a big area of opportunity for growth for me is that I realized through my reflections is celebrating my wins. Like that for me, I like a lot of y'all, which is when Hannah said that resonated so close with, I feel some type of way for like talking good about myself to other people, because I think in the past that's, I get in my head, I'm like, oh, am I being like too proud? Am I being boastful? Am I like, like being overly confident by saying like, look, I'm excited about this, or this is what I'm doing and I'm happy about it and wanting to share it. Like, and I'm really trying, like, that's a big area for me to grow in and be like, no, this is me. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm excited about. And I'm just going to be me, like, and being okay with that. And, okay, I'm gonna be honest. I've never shied away from hard conversations, and even as you're talking, this is on my heart. An opportunity for growth for me, yeah, my hair, like wearing my natural hair. Like I was processing that in my reflections this past week. For so long, I felt like I had to wear my hair straight, or I had to like, for me, like add like different things to my hair. And I was like, you know what, like I'm gonna wear my hair natural. I'm gonna give my hair a break and I'm gonna let it loose and I'm just gonna like let it be me and just yeah. And that was like literally as we're talking, I thought about that and I was like, but that's been an opportunity, a growth for me, because I think, 1 week I was just feeling down on myself and I was like, why am I so down? I'm like, oh, I have to wear my natural hair. My hair needs a break. I was like, no, this is an opportunity for me to grow. So yeah.
I hear in that you are like accepting yourself as is without any like, what's the word I'm looking for? Alterations, which is such a powerful like self-love act.
Yes. Y'all, first off, y'all come on. Y'all better hype me up. In the awesome. Y'all come. Y'all. I love y'all.
Oh, thanks for sharing. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot and there's so much. And oh gosh, there's so much. I feel like even more so than normal right now with everything that's going on. We are being challenged in every aspect of our lives right now, even in the best of circumstances. We are being challenged so great right now. And in that, we're growing. We're going to look back one day and be like, holy cow, look at all the things that I did and got through and pushed through and persevered through. And we are doing some really big stuff. Like there's heavy, we're towing a lot of heavy stuff right now. And reflection and journaling and processing. We don't have our usual outlets to go to get this stuff out. We don't have our usual ways to connect with people, whether it was with, talking through stuff with our coworkers or our best friends or our family. And another, dynamic that I've noticed just in kind of observation, that a lot of people are becoming more comfortable not being social. So we're not processing a lot of stuff like we normally do. And there's more stuff to process. So you guys, I can't even stress this enough, like reflections, journaling, get it out. And then come to our Facebook group and tell us when you guys are just doing some really cool stuff, big, small, tiny, huge, everything in between, so that we can celebrate it. We can normalize it. Come in there and tell us how you screwed up so we can celebrate that too. Like, you guys, there's a sticker in your book. There's a sticker in the back of your planner that says celebrate failures. So I want to see someone use that. I want to see someone use that. Can someone use that on your spread next week and tag us?
I know.
I want to celebrate a failure. Hey, that'll be our challenge, Sharon. We can set the tone.
Okay.
That'll be our challenge.
I got you. Because I can think of a failure or two each week. I can think of some. I'm going to use that sticker this week.
I think I have them daily. Like there is something. I'm like, okay. All right. So let me see. We are all over the place today. All right. So yeah, the weekly reflections, huge impact on your goal setting and growth. Change it up. You guys get creative. We're going to show you here in just a minute some different ways that people are using the reflections page and how they're getting creative with it. We give you a guideline, a framework of questions, but you guys can get as crafty and creative as you want or not. And again, you can just use the monthly reflections. The monthly reflections, we'll talk about that real quick. It can be used in two ways. You guys can just have this just be your reflections by itself. It's all of our recommended questions, but a little bit deeper. What your biggest wins were for the month, what is currently working in your life, not working, what you've learned that month. If you sit down with just this, even if you do the weekly reflections or not, things are going to just spout off the top of your head. and just automatically come, out on the page. We do get a little bit deeper on these. We ask what you're most grateful for and habits that you want to nurture or adjust or change. And then to rate your overall satisfaction, because that's good insight to have. I always love how satisfied are you in work and life and wherever.
I love that. As someone who likes numbers, I really like the fact that I could just be like, okay, here's the number for the month.
You know what I have found about myself is that I have a really hard time rating myself in anything above a 7. And I am always so impressed. All of you guys who are like 8, 9s, and 10s on things. I'm like, I love that. Yes, So I should do some reflecting on that. Why do I have a hard time rating?
I also I think the teacher, the school nerd in me, loves the idea of converting those numbers into a grade. If I was to times everything by 10, okay, this would be an A, this would be a B, this would be a C, this would be a D, this would be an F. This is just not even on the grading scale. For me, I sometimes like doing that as well. So.
Oh yeah, totally. So an A would be 9 or 10.
Yeah.
B 7 or 8. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And if it's a sliding scale or not,
Yeah. And does anyone, I want to know, you guys in the comments, does anyone get creative with how they fill this out? I do. I always do a crazy star and highlight it. I've seen Carrie, What Would Carrie Craft? She does fun things. I'm curious if anyone does anything cute and crafty around that. Post that too. I want to see that. Okay, so that's one way you can do it. You guys could just jump into and just do the monthly reflections. Or you guys could, and not do the weekly reflections, or actually there's 3 ways. Or you could do what Darian and I know KDK Plans does, is they go through the month and they add really important things that stand out to them as the month goes on. So they're kind of filling it out as the month goes. I personally just sit down, I do my weekly reflections. So this would be the 3rd way. I do all my weekly reflections as often as I can. Sometimes I skip weeks. And then I jump into here and I just go off of whatever's present in my heart, what just pops up for me, because those tend to be the biggest, most impactful nuggets that I'm carrying over. And again, no right way to do it. Whatever resonates with you is the best way to do that. Okay, so let's show, I'm going to kind of talk about, while we show you these slides, some of the power of reflections, because we just talked about the benefits and how it applies to our planning in our lives, but just psychologically, the way some of these reflections work. Also, you guys, look at how creative our community is. These guys are doing so. I'm seeing free write journaling. I'm seeing KDK added some different questions, journal prompt questions that she answered in short sentence form. April over at Mama and Craft is doing a list of her highs and lows, good choices, bad choices, and a memory for her. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and kind of go through this so you guys can get some inspiration. But the power of reflections, they offer insight and improve decision making. So it helps you make better decisions moving forward. Gives you a chance to celebrate your wins and what's working. It helps you learn from mistakes and setbacks. You guys, it's that time where you get a chance to turn your mistakes or failures into an asset versus a liability. It's a mindset shift. All of this is mindset. We're constantly shaping your mindset for you guys. You just don't know it. So it creates opportunities to learn about your strengths and weaknesses and how you might be getting in your own way when it comes to your goal setting. And it offers insight to what you're also doing right, so that you can continue those types of decisions and actions and making progress on your goals and in your life. So, okay, so that's reflections. We're going to take questions at the end, but I want to jump into the quarterly assessment real fast. There's not a whole lot to talk about with this because you guys are familiar already with the Compass assessment, but there's a couple things in here that most of you don't know. And I want to go a little bit deeper because, when we create the planner, we only have so many pages. We are going to create opportunities for digger dives for you guys in some of the programs and products that we're going to be offering moving forward. But for right now with this, she's all shoulder shaking.
I'm so excited.
But for the quarterly compass, the number one question that I'm asked by people is why did you have me go through all those questions in the beginning? And then now you're like, here's a compass, just rate your satisfaction. It's partially by design. It's also because we're not going to put like a full assessment every quarter in the planner. But it also, more than anything, is by design. And here's why. What we're doing when you are first introduced to our system and considering your life from a global perspective of how every single area of your life is working. Before I created this assessment, when I was coaching people, the most common question I would get from people all the time was, well, what is included in personal and what's included in spiritual and personal growth? And well, I'm a stay-at-home parent. How does that apply to work and learning? And there was a lot of like gray area. It was really hard for people to kind of create a framework in their mind, let alone even figure out where their blind spots are. And so we created the assessment based off of years of working with people and creating a very simple kind of guidepost of a bunch of different areas that are considered under the global area of life. The hierarchy of needs is integrated. There's a lot of psychology integrated into our system that we don't overtly talk about, but it is just woven through. And one of the things that the assessment does is it gives you the framework. It gives you the cognitive understanding of what each area of life is and also what it includes. By asking the questions that we ask, we're also pushing you to go outside of what your normal kind of consideration may be when you're thinking about how your life is working and what certain goals that you can come up with. As you go through the system, especially a full quarter, we've taken it from a cognitive understanding to a life application. You guys have had a chance to know what each area of life is. You've been introduced to some of those blind spots and opportunities for growth, and you've now been creating goals and actions based off of those things. We want to take you out of the mental cognitive assessment of it and start to ask you, well, how are you feeling about these areas of life? What is your overall satisfaction? How is it working for you? Like in actual application, you playing with this. This page is asking you for your overall satisfaction to rate how things are working for you. Now, if you get to the first quarter or if you need this every other quarter and you feel most comfortable with those assessment questions, head over to our website. The assessment is a free download. Feel free if you want. Again, there's no rules. If you feel more comfortable going through those questions to come up with your score, that's totally fine. The reason why we have people do the assessment every year is because it's good. Even me, I've been doing this for over 20 years. I still, when I go through those assessment questions, I am reminded of things that naturally that I don't enjoy doing. I don't like thinking about. I don't really like, it's not a natural gravitation for me to go and create actions or goals around. And I still have blind spots. It is human nature for us to have blind spots. So when I go through that assessment, it helps remind me of new opportunities for growth because we are always growing. There is no destination. And this is also a great opportunity for me to remind you guys too, that whatever your scores are from the assessment and the Compass assessment on the quarterly, that's just information. Don't allow it to try not to filter it through good or bad. The filter of, it's right or wrong, good or bad, or somehow you've messed up. I know that can sometimes be hard to see how things maybe are or are not working in your life. But just see it as information, opportunity for growth. That's all it is. Again, we're celebrating things that are good. We're also celebrating things that are not good because we're going to create change and we're going to learn and grow and become better because of them. So the quarterly assessment is asking you about satisfaction. I want to know how you guys are feeling about your life after you guys are going through this whole process. So that's why there's not a lot of questions in there. You guys are going to get the opportunity to put in what your previous scores are, what your current scores are. And this is just for you number nerds. I'm a number nerd. That allows you, looking at you, Darian, this allows you to kind of see just numeric form. There's a visual form. There's a numeric form for you to see how things are working. And if scores go down, that's okay too. Again, information. My scores went total nosedive as COVID through the middle of the year because it was crazy. And this is a great story I want to share with you guys because on top of this too, another thing that a lot of people don't know about is the questioning on here is very carefully worded. These questions at the bottom, these reflection questions, I specifically worded them a certain way. In fact, I had my copywriters try to change it. And I said, no, there's a reason why I asked this. I'm going to give you an example. Overall, my scores, and you get a chance to grade yourself. They increased, decreased, or stayed the same. And then the next question is, what personal actions contributed to these results? I ask that on purpose because here's the deal. We are only in control of ourselves and our lives. The power constantly resides in you. I'm going to continue to remind you guys that, to trust the process, trust yourself. If there is changes in your life that is good or not so good, the only one that can really do the real work is you. So my example is, I was going through here, this was mid-year, I think it was June. It was the second quarter assessment. I was going through and I was looking at how awful my scores were. They were so low. I was really just trying to like wrap my head around what was happening in the world. Everything was going like every which direction. And I get to like, overall my scores decreased. They definitely decreased. And then I got to that question and I was ready. You guys, I had a list of things that I was ready to be like, and I forgot that I had worded it this way. I had a list of questions. Darian's laughing. Put yourself back on here. I had a list of things. You guys, grievances. I could tell you everything that was keeping me up at night. That wasn't working. I was ready to go to town. I'm like, I can't write everything that I have to write, why my scores are low. There's not enough space. There are so many things. And then I literally got halted in my tracks. And I remember telling my husband, Eric, I'm like, oh my God, I just did a thing on myself. What personal actions contributed most to these results? I couldn't blame COVID. I couldn't blame the political climate. I couldn't blame the economy. I couldn't blame anything, the kids being home from school. And I couldn't blame any of that because I had to ask myself, what did I do or not do that contributed to these results? And you know what I said? My answer was, I let all of the things outside of myself dictate what direction and what choices I was making in my life. And it was a huge wake-up call for me. I asked this question specifically for a reason. There's a reason. You guys, there's literally, the language in here is for a reason. So I had to share that with you because I did a number on myself.
Ooh.
So
I'm like, that's convicting. Like, I'm just over here like, ooh, like I probably would I would have just been like, I'm not answering this question right now. I need a break from you. Then I'm going to come back and be honest. Like,
well, you know me, I don't do plan with me's. And it was one of those times where I'm like, I really wish I was doing a plan with me right now. Because that would have been a moment. I would have been like, you guys, what is this? Wait, I was so ready to be like, like, here's all the things that aren't working. And I'm like, oh, I'm letting those things get in the way. So anyway, there was a whole bunch of insight that I got from that. I did a whole bunch of journaling around that. And I also gave myself a whole lot of grace too, because the reality is it is hard. And I was able to say, it's okay to have low scores. It's a season of life. There's a whole lot of craziness going on and it's okay. And to give myself permission. I think that really, I just needed that permission that it's okay if we're not thriving and like, doing amazing.
Yes.
And then 3 words to describe how you generally felt. That's just good. Again, really good insight to help kind of direct like what has been my mood. And the biggest opportunity for growth and what area of life will be my main focus for the next 90 days. I want to say one caveat, and this is something you guys have probably noticed. The mood you are in when you fill out these assessments will affect your scores. If you're having a bad day and things are not going well, your scores will be lower. If you're having an amazing day and you feel like you're on top of the world, your scores will be higher. I recommend having the insight before you sit down with us to come from a solid place, a steady place, like, a time when you're not feeling like you're on top of the world or that the world is crashing in on you, to try and get as best of a baseline as you can. And you know what? If you feel this out and you look back a week later or a couple days later and you're like, oh, those scores I don't think are right, just change them. Print it out, do it again. Again, no rules, play with this. So there is like that human element to that. So I'm conscious of time. Let's see here. Where are we at? I want to make sure I don't
You're great.
I am.
You're great. Yeah, I was like, come on. I was like, you're good.
If you guys have been following my lives for any bit of time, thank God for Darian, because she helps keep me on point. I love rabbit holes. I'm like, wait, where was I going? I could talk about this stuff for days, you guys. No joke. Okay. Questions, you guys. Tell us any questions. If there is something that you want to know, you guys, we're going to plan on top of our next live, which is February 11th at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you. 8 p.m. Eastern. Oh, okay. This is another thing. I always put 5 p.m. PST, 8 p.m. PST. It's always Eastern Standard Time. February 11th. You guys, I think that there's going to be 9 people on the call. I know we're going to have a full house. You guys probably are like, well, who are all the 9 people? There's a new addition, and she actually doesn't even know yet that we have this test. I hope she says yes, but you know who you are. I know you're here. Okay, yeah. Oh, you guys, weekly actions challenge. We still have one more week. Use it. Okay, you guys, go in there. Let us hold you accountable. Even if it's just one more week, please do the actions challenge in the group. Darian's posting them. Go and post a photo, cover up what you don't want to share, learn from other people. That's why you're not seeing weekly actions in our group, you guys, is because they're all in those comments. As soon as we stop doing the challenge, hopefully you guys will start posting them in the group. But there is, I think on our first one, there's over 500 comments, entries, which is just crazy. But on our February 11th live, we're going to also announce the winner of this month's challenge. So it is this awesome little Apple's tote, which you guys, if you're not familiar with Apple's, they are an awesome do-good company. They basically hire Bangladeshi women who are escaping domestic I don't know exactly. I need to get a little bit more information on their product because we are actually going to be doing a collaboration with them and having planner bags, planner totes, not exactly like this, but we will have them in the store here in the next probably month and a half. But they are just doing good things in the world and globally. And so you guys get one, the winner gets this tote, and this has been, do you see that? New product. I have all of my planner stuff in here, and it is like so perfect. I have like a picnic basket tote thing that has like stuff that I don't always need, but this is like my stuff I use every single day, and it's like so perfect. So you get one of those, and then you're also getting a one-on-one coaching session with me too, and a follow-up on what we talk about. So
yeah, that coaching session in it of itself, it's like this, but like just one-on-one with Sierra. It's like, come on, like it's not too late to enter this challenge, y'all. I'm just saying, even if you were like, I missed a few weeks, go back, add yourself, just take back pictures and put them on there so you can be entered. Because
yes, and also too, it just helps to see how other people are doing their weekly actions. Before we leave, I'm really curious, has anyone felt like they found their flow yet? It's usually, I think it's still maybe a little early. Those of you who are new, those of you, the newbies, the first years, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks. So just know that in that, you know, again, you're finding out that information. Just like I shared with my whole spin story. There's gonna be stuff that you're like, oh, I thought I was into this, and I'm not. And so in that, it takes a couple weeks to like hash that out. But it's good information you wouldn't know if you weren't doing reflections, you weren't doing this every single week. If you miss a week, that's okay. That's totally fine. Try not to miss 2 in a row, because that's when the habit starts to go out the door and we start to talk ourselves out of doing it because we're like, oh, I've missed a couple weeks. Try not to, Atomic Habits, James Clear talks about this. Miss 1, don't miss 2, so that you keep the habit going. Okay. Book club book in honor of Black History Month. We just did a poll and we are reading. I have the book. It just arrived. Cast. I can't remember the name of the author, but it was overwhelmingly the choice in book club, and I'm so excited to read it. It was an Oprah's book club. It's got like almost 5 stars on Goodreads and Amazon. It looks incredibly powerful. It's a chunky book. There's a lot of amazing content in there. So if you're not in our book club yet, it's fun. Every month we get to choose between 4 books that kind of have the same theme. We do both fiction and nonfiction. We go off of personal development and or current affairs and or just hot titles that are in the news that a lot of people are reading. So every month we change it up, and you guys get to choose between 4 titles, and then we read that for the month and have a discussion in the Facebook group at the end of the month. And then if you guys didn't see Darian's post, we have a new product. It's not in the store yet, you guys. But they're here and they are ready to ship, and they are dot grid notebooks. 60 pages, I believe. You guys, I'm so sorry. I should have these stats right in front of me. It has a cute little notebook, gold foil with a little heart, Makselife on the back. They are dot grid. We don't have lined right now. And then they've also got this our little baby heart in the corner. And these fit perfectly. Darian, do you have your planner? Can you show?
I absolutely do. It's in the pocket. So I'm going to put it in the pocket for us. Yeah. So in the pocket, it fits. And then when I close it, it's literally just like perfect.
Am I the only one that loves a chunky planner? Oh, I love
I love a chunky planner. It means that it's well loved, well used, you know?
It's like, oh, it's so good. I just want to squish it. Yeah, the mom and me. Moms, I know you. Come on, you guys want to squish things all the time.
And then you can also just put it in the elastic band. So
those and it fits into your folder in the back too.
Yes.
Yeah. And so Chelsea just said it. Love chunky planners and babies. Yep. But you guys, this is a really great. A lot of you guys have been asking about or need daily type space or extra space. These are great to brain dump. This is what I use mine for usually, my weekly planning, goal setting, and then I put like a running to-do list or brain dump notes, and you just replace the notebook when you're done with it. And I usually go through a notebook like every month and a half. And that allows my planner to just keep all the good stuff, and the stuff that I want to toss, I just, either throw the notebook away or keep it. But you can use it as a gratitude journal. You can use it for anything. It does not have perforated pages like our companion notebooks, but it's not off the table for future releases. So we may add that if that's something that people are interested in. It is A5. It is the same paper that is in our planners. We use the same paper for all of our products, 120 GSM recycled wood-free paper. And believe that these are going to retail for 10. So, all right. I think that is it. What questions do we have?
Yes. So we have someone asking who just received their companion notebooks, like should they back plan in January? They just got them and they're just like, what should I do in January? Should I back plan, or what's your suggestion?
Okay. If it were me, I would jump right in, and I would, because what you may find yourself, because there's an assessment at the back and it's for every quarter, you may feel if it's off if you start in February and go February, March, April. If that doesn't bother you, then just use it as a 3-month instead of quarterly, a 3-month goal planner. If it were me, I get that weird, that systems part of my brain. A quarter is a quarter, and it would feel so off to me if I started that first week in February. So I would either skip those pages and just make it, paper clip them so that I just pretend like they're not there, or you could remove them, or you could back plan, and you could even just go through, because obviously if you've been setting goals on separate pieces of paper, which I know a lot of you guys have been doing, go back and put them on there. Have it be just an exercise in like celebrating what you've done and what you planned for the beginning of January, and or you could go and just write some memorable moments, like go through your phone and your social media and see kind of what's happened over the last couple of weeks, and you can do it that way. But I would definitely recommend just jumping in. Don't wait. Never wait. Just begin.
We got Sarah C asking, when do we get to see the daily?
Daily is most likely going to be a fall launch. So we were originally thinking about launching it mid-year, but we have another product that's coming mid-year. we had to pivot. We sold out of our planners. Like, it's crazy. We were not expecting that. So because of that, we want to be able to offer an option for those of you who didn't get in on the calendar year planner. So we will be coming out with a 6-month undated standard coil. So for all of you EC coil lovers, we will have a standard coil planner coming out. And so we are in the process actually of developing that product currently. And so that basically made the daily take a back seat. So we're a small team. We can only like do so much new product development. So yeah, daily will be a fall release.
Awesome. Okay. And I've seen this question a few times. When will the notebooks be available?
These guys? Yes. Well, they're here and they're ready to ship. I just need to get my butt in gear and get them loaded into our store. So over the next couple days, I will post it all over the interwebs when they are
in the Facebook group. You're going to be the first to know about it.
For sure. Always. You guys, I always go to you guys first. Some people go to their email list or Instagram or whatever. No, we'll always go to our Facebook group first and share all the exclusive, like, all right, you guys are the first. So yeah, so Desiree, probably I'm only hesitating because I have the next couple days scheduled off to do just business planning for Makselife for this year, but I will squeak those guys in the store in the next couple days.
Okay, we got motivated by stickers. Listen, we should be friends. Will the paper be the same in the 6-month undated?
Always, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then we have, let me make sure I'm catching up.
Heather G asked, how's the Moxie warehouse hunting going? Ooh, yeah, that's a whole thing. You guys, who saw the photos of us fulfilling out of our house? Because we had we had people in the driveway, in the garage, in our house. We had so many things going on, and there was rain and crazy. It was crazy. And, we just entered into our 2nd year. And so it's funny because a lot of people are like, I didn't realize you guys were so small and still, doing it out of your house. Yeah, we now have a fulfillment center in our garage, which thank goodness, because we have our house back. Yeah, so we haven't decided if we're going to do fulfillment in-house. I kind of want to, because I have a lot more control over certain aspects that are important to me with the business quality and that kind of stuff, and the interactions with you guys. But we also live in California, and that is a very expensive endeavor. So we are considering doing a fulfillment center. So yeah, thanks for asking about that. We're still considering all options.
Yes. One mommy scrapping said, will the 2020 have a spiral? I'm assuming they're talking about the standard flagship planner.
Yeah. So I mentioned this before. Our 12-month planner will always be in a wire O binding. And the reason for that is because of our page count. We run into manufacturing issues with spiral load with the number of pages that we have. So we would not be able to, with our manufacturer and the type of quality that they put out, they won't put this amount of pages for the 12 months into a spiral. But that's where the 6-month undated will come in. So if you like the spiral, you will have the opportunity to get that in the 6-month. Now, if you're like me, like many planner girls, I don't like undated. One, because I feel like it's too easy to not stick to it. So we will have dated stickers that will make it feel just like our 12-month planner available, so that, and I recommend that if you guys do go that route, definitely lay those stickers down so it's dated and you're committed. But eventually as we grow, we could hopefully do 6-month dated. But right now for this year, it will be undated. And there will be that spiral option for those of you who want it. Whereas like the 12-month planners, like Derry and I talk about this all the time. We love that because we want everything for the year in one spot. But some of you don't really care about that. So we're going to try and create a bunch of opportunities for products for all of you. You disc lovers, we're looking at getting unpunched inserts. Well, I don't know if they'd be called inserts, but yeah, unpunched pages for you guys. So we're looking at a bunch of stuff. February and March are my product development months. And so that's why I don't have a whole lot of information because my team and I are still working through samples, products, all that stuff.
Yes. She literally you just answered a lot of the questions. Hannah did ask, what are the covers like on the standard spiral? Are they going to be the same as on our
No.
black? Oh,
no, I'm so excited about these. Oh, I just got shipped a ton of samples, product samples, which is like my favorite thing. It's like, it will be vegan leather covers. So they'll be like a luxe cover. And we are considering a blush pink, a very light blush pink, and a dark gray. And it'll have just a very simple Makselife stamp on the front. It'll be very like luxe feeling. So everything's going to have like kind of its own little fill for each product that we bring out.
Yes. Okay. You had talked about our disc with the disc bound. Like a lot of people are asking about the disc bound, and we've already talked about that. We have one more question about, will the daily be a full 12 months or split into 6 months?
So thanks, Jennifer. That's a great question. We will get into exactly what that's going to look like as we once we get through this mid-year product line launch and samples. Because of the page count, I'm anticipating that it's probably most likely actually going to be a quarterly, and that is going to allow it to still be portable. It will allow us to have all the full pages for every single day of the week, Saturday and Sunday included. It will also have a weekly overview calendar. It will have your weekly goals, your monthly calendar, and all of the planning pages. We're still trying to figure out how we're going to do that because it's a little unique to our system compared to other daily planners. But it will be integrated with our goal setting system in the daily. It won't be just the daily, just daily pages. It will also have the Makselife goal setting in there. I want to keep it portable. So I believe it will be a quarterly, and then there will be some options, planning pages for future planning for you in the back. Because again, Planner Girl and me knows that we got to have calendars to plan, even if it's not in that book. So, and binding for that, we haven't decided.
Okay. We got a few more questions. How are you doing on time, Sierra? I want to be mindful.
I'm good.
Okay. Will the size of the undated be the same size as the 12-month plan?
Yes, 7x9.
We got any plans for a different color options? Like I think interiorly, people the pages inside the planner, colorful or neutral, or this staying the same?
Okay, so our goals pages will always be the same. We've considered doing a more muted collection, so it's a little bit more gender neutral. That will likely debut with our daily because of kind of the target market that would likely use that. It will still be in the same color family of each area of life that we currently have. It'll just be a more muted version. Again, we are still kind of playing around with all these concepts and what exactly that would look like. I don't anticipate that there's going to be a full neutral. However, the undated 6 month, because it's undated, all of the pages, if you look at our pages in the planner, the places where there is color is the dates. So if you want a more neutral option, oh, I picked gray. That doesn't help. Hold on. It's the gray month. I'm like, that doesn't help. So if you look, it's the dates and the month are where the color is. Everything else is gray. So if you want a more neutral option, the undated is definitely going to be your go-to. And we've considered doing colorful dated stickers that would mirror what our planner is, and the muted line. So we're still playing around. Again, we'll be nailing all these things down over the next couple months. It's a lot of work.
Someone asked, will the Wire O ever have a silver option?
It will be silver. Yes. I love my silver coils for that.
Yes. Okay, there will be a silver option. Will the size of the undated be the same size as the 12-month?
Yes, 7x9.
Awesome. I'm going through, making sure we ain't got no more questions. Oh, this is a good question. Can I volunteer to be a beta tester for the daily?
Honestly, I wish, but I literally like play with printouts, and you guys should see. I should do a behind the scenes. I'm awful at doing behind the scenes because it would be funny to show you guys. I mean, I have to be careful because there are people that are watching what we're doing with our product development stuff, and so I have to be careful about how much I share. But you should see, like, I have actually planned on like scrap pieces of paper that I've like drawn boxes and like tried to make it work because I didn't have time to like test it with my designer until I give it to her, and then she puts it and makes it all pretty. So when I start creating it, I will definitely come to you guys for some questions and polling about some things you guys prefer. It will be heavily vetted out, though. I will tell you that, whatever the layout ends up being. But we won't have like samples for you guys to try out.
Okay. And then I want to end on this question because it's so good. What has been your favorite part to witness in the growth of Moxie?
Oh, that's an awesome question. Oh boy. It's funny. I'm going to get like, okay. It's been interesting for me because I've gotten so, it's been such a crazy, like, whirlwind. This year has just been so crazy. And if any of you talk to me at any point, there's very often you'll hear me say, like, I have these moments that I'm like, oh my gosh, I created a product. Oh my gosh, I have a company. Like there's people using something I created. I have these moments still where it dawns on me that I'm like, oh, Makselife exists and it's doing amazing. And it's crazy. Like you would think that I'm kind of in it all day. I'm like, what do you think you've been doing, Sierra? Like, but I have these moments where it shocks me that this is a reality. Until this month was the first time that I like really sat with it and thought, holy cow, the emails, the messages that I get from you guys talking about the growth and how you're creating space for yourselves for the first time, either in your life or recently. I get goosebumps. I have goosebumps talking about it. Knowing that you guys are creating space for yourself to grow and to blossom more into yourself is the damnest coolest thing ever in my life, like ever. That is, to me, I have goosebumps talking about it. It's just cool. I don't know. I'm just really present with the fact that our world feels very sad and heavy right now. And it is only through us making ourselves better, loving ourselves, that we will be able to go out into the world and create change and make the world a better place. And I look at every single one of you as conduits of change. When you guys get better, you guys are going to go and do better things in your home, in your families, in your communities. And I just think that's just the coolest thing. And then seeing how you guys interact with each other. That's it for me. Did I answer that okay?
You answered it great. And I was like, that's the question that I feel like we just needed to end with, because I think that's so awesome. And y'all, I love all these questions that we have, and know that we are going to be doing a Q&A in the Facebook group next month. So stay tuned for that. Think of all your questions, because clearly we like to answer anything. So go ahead, we'll make sure we get that date out to you, and make sure you mark February 11th for our Meet the Team. Y'all, this is going to be fun. I can't wait.
I cannot wait for you guys to meet everyone.
Yes. But y'all also put your weekly actions in. That challenge is still going. Our last one is this Sunday. So keep going. I know I'm encouraged by looking at all your guys' goals and how you're doing it and getting creative with your reflections. You guys, this community is awesome. And we just thank you so much for being a part of it.
I love you guys. Bye. Thanks for tuning in tonight. All right. Bye.